Hello everyone, we're here with a new video from Congar Law Limited Company. International sea shipping is the backbone of the global economy. It moves essential goods, raw materials, and energy across vast oceans. But this vital system often works under the shadow of political conflicts and wars. When countries or groups start fighting, the seas can turn into dangerous battlegrounds. Ships, their crews, and valuable cargo face big risks. These dangers aren't just ideas. They are real threats that can lead to terrible losses. If a ship is attacked or damaged in a conflict zone, the effects can be huge, deeply impacting trade, supply chains, and human lives. The risks ships face during wartime are many and serious. As seen in recent events in the Red Sea, this can include direct attacks from missiles, drones, or Navy ships. Both old and new mines are another hidden and deadly danger that can cause huge damage without warning. Also, ships can be captured or held by fighting groups. This is known as capture or seizure, a practice that can lead to the complete loss of the ship and its cargo. Crew members are also in great danger, risking injury, death, or being taken hostage. These growing dangers make sailing through conflict zones an incredibly high-risk journey for any shipping company. The increased risk directly and greatly affects the shipping industry, especially in insurance. Insurance companies must carefully figure out the chance of these events happening when providing coverage for ships. The money lost from a single ship can be hundreds of millions of dollars, which makes the insurance process for trips to high-risk areas very complicated. Because of this, standard insurance policies often have specific rules and exceptions for war-related issues. So ship owners must pay close attention to the details of their coverage to make sure they are well protected against these special and growing dangers. Understanding the world of marine insurance becomes very important for surviving these tough times. Ship owners rely on different types of insurance to protect their assets and responsibilities. The two most basic types are hull and machinery insurance, which covers the physical ship itself, and protection and indemnity insurance, which handles third-party responsibilities. But whether these standard policies cover damages from war acts is a key question. The answer decides who pays the financial cost when a conflict spreads to commercial shipping lanes, making it an important issue for everyone involved in sea trade. Hull and machinery insurance is the main policy that protects a ship owner's most valuable asset, the ship itself. This type of insurance is made to cover physical damage or loss to the ship's hull, engines, and equipment. Standard hull and machinery policies usually cover dangers at sea like bad weather, crashes, running aground, and fires. For example, if a ship hits an underwater rock or there's a fire in the engine room, hull and machinery insurance steps in to pay for the needed repairs or the agreed-upon value of the ship if it's a total loss. This is basic protection that lets ship owners operate with financial safety against common sea accidents. But an important part of most standard hull and machinery policies is that they specifically leave out war-related risks. These policies almost always have a war exclusion clause. This clause clearly states that the insurance does not cover loss or damage from war, civil war, revolution, rebellion, or any hostile act by or against a fighting power. It also leaves out damage from mines, torpedoes, bombs, or other war weapons, even if they've been left behind. This means if a ship is hit by a missile or damaged by a sea mine, the standard hull and machinery policy won't pay for any physical damage the ship gets. To fill this big gap in coverage, ship owners must buy a separate and different insurance policy known as war risk insurance. This special policy is specifically made to cover the dangers that are left out by the war exclusion clause in the standard hull and machinery policy. War risk insurance gives the needed financial protection against physical loss or damage to the ship that comes directly from acts of war. This is an extra layer of safety that becomes absolutely necessary when a ship needs to trade or sail in areas marked as high risk or politically unstable, where the threat of conflict is a real thing. So the difference between a standard hull and machinery policy and a separate war risk policy is super important. Ship owners can't just assume they're covered for conflict-related damage just because they have hull and machinery insurance. This need for extra coverage is made clear by how the insurance market points out certain high-risk areas. When a ship enters one of these listed areas, like parts of the Red Sea or the Black Sea, the ship owner must tell their war risk insurers and usually pay an extra fee for each trip. This system makes sure that the higher risk is properly insured, but it also puts the responsibility of getting the right coverage firmly on the ship owner. While hull and machinery insurance covers the ship itself, protection and indemnity insurance is designed to cover a ship owner's responsibilities to others. This type of insurance is provided by P&I clubs, which are mutual insurance groups for ship owners. P&I coverage is incredibly broad and vital for modern shipping operations. It often includes responsibility for damage to cargo carried on the ship, compensation for injury or death of crew members, passengers, or other people, responsibility for damage to fixed and floating objects like docks or buoys, and costs related to pollution events, such as oil spills. It's a safety net that protects ship owners from a wide range of operational responsibilities. Similar to hull and machinery policies, standard P&I club rules also include a war risk exclusion. This means that normal P&I coverage doesn't respond to responsibilities that come from an act of war. For example, if a ship is attacked and sinks, causing an oil spill, the standard P&I policy won't cover cleanup costs or penalties if the sinking is considered a result of a war danger. Similarly, if crew members are injured or die during a missile attack on the ship, claims for compensation won't be covered under standard P&I rules. This exclusion creates a big problem for ship owners operating in conflict areas, leaving them open to potentially huge claims from others. To fill this gap, ship owners must get separate P&I war risk coverage. This extra insurance is specifically designed to cover responsibilities that are excluded by the war risk exclusion clause from the standard P&I policy. It provides the necessary protection for responsibilities to others that are a direct result of war, civil unrest, terrorism, or other similar hostile actions. For example, with P&I war risk coverage in place, the ship owner would be protected against responsibility claims from cargo owners whose goods were lost in an attack, or from the families of crew members who were tragically harmed during a hostile event. It's a key part of coverage for any trip into dangerous waters. The need for this special coverage cannot be overstated, as the potential responsibilities can be financially devastating. Imagine a situation where a ship is bombed and as a result, crashes into another ship or a port facility. The claims that arise for the loss of the other ship, damage to the port, and potential environmental pollution could easily reach hundreds of millions of dollars. Without special P&I war risk insurance, the ship owner would be personally responsible for these huge amounts. Therefore, getting this extra layer of responsibility protection isn't just a suggestion, it's a basic requirement for responsible and careful shipping operations in today's uncertain world. The importance of clear and complete war risk insurance often comes to light through real-world events and the legal fights that follow. The recent attacks by Houthi rebels on commercial ships in the Red Sea are a clear current example. Ships were hit by missiles and drones, causing physical damage, crew deaths, and in at least one case, a ship sinking. In these situations, the difference between standard hull and machinery or P&I coverage and special war risk coverage isn't just a theory. It's what decides if huge financial losses will be covered. Insurers declared the area a high-risk zone and made it a must for shipowners to buy special voyage-specific war risk policies with much higher prices before entering these waters. A famous legal case that helped shape how these policies are understood is the Coxwold case from World War II. In this case, a ship was sailing in a convoy under the orders of naval authorities. Wartime conditions, including the need to sail without lights, caused the ship to run aground. The court had to decide if the loss was due to a sea danger, like running aground, or a war danger, like sailing under wartime orders. The House of Lords finally decided it was a war danger because the wartime operation was the main and most important cause of the loss. This important decision set a key example. When figuring out coverage, you should look at the overall cause of the event, not just the immediate one. Another area of disagreement involves the definition of war. Conflicts can often be undeclared or carried out by groups that are not governments, like pirates or terrorists. This can lead to legal arguments about whether an event falls under a war risk exception or something else, like piracy. For example, the capture and later destruction by fire of the Brillante Virtuoso off Yemen led to a long court battle. The ship owner claimed it was an act of piracy covered by marine policies, while the insurers argued it was an act by bad actors with possible links to regional conflicts, which would fall under a war risk policy. The case shows how complicated and risky it is to correctly categorize an event. In the end, the most important lesson for ship owners is the need for extreme care and clarity when it comes to insurance. Before sending any ship into an area with high political or military risk, it's super important to check all insurance policies thoroughly. Ship owners must make sure that both hull and machinery and P&I war risk extensions are in place. Also, they should talk clearly with their insurers or brokers. Tell them they plan to enter listed high-risk areas and be ready to pay any extra fees needed. In the complex and dangerous world of modern shipping, just assuming you're covered is a recipe for disaster. Being proactive about managing risks and having full insurance is the only real shield against the financial fallout of war. Thank you for watching the video. For more videos, don't forget to follow the Congar Law Limited YouTube channel and share it with a friend who might be interested in this topic.